Hello, everyone. Once again, we're back. My name is Alain Kapatashungu. I'm the co-founder of Frontdoor. So, as you know, at Frontdoor, what we do is that we provide top-producing agents and brokers with insights that close deals faster for them. So today, I'm really exciting, and you guys are in for a treat. I'm really excited about this one. So we are talking with one of the most recognized thought leader in our industry, which is Mike Pappas. Mike, how are you doing today?
Great. Good to see you. And you're looking fine. So it's an honor and privilege to be here. So thank you.
I appreciate that. It's really my pleasure. So for those of you quickly who doesn't know Mike, let me just give you a little bit of background about him. So Mike, if you guys know a little bit about the Keys Company, those guys are really everything about people. They take care of them. Mike is the CEO and president of the Keys Company, which is based in South Florida, which is, to me, one of the iconic real estate brands in our industry. And Mike is also a thought leader, which I said earlier, within our space. And obviously, he has this just incredible wealth of experience that spans almost 3 decades. And as I said, I think we're really in for a treat today. So that's a little bit about Mike.
Thank you.
My pleasure, Mike. So Mike, let's get started. The first thing that I want to ask you, which I always ask, is can you walk us through or describe a little bit, if possible, like what is your quote unquote typical day during this pandemic that we all live in?
Well, I don't know if this is typical. So I think definitely we're not in a typical day, and I think it is a little bit of a it is a trying time for us.
Absolutely.
And I think it's challenging times. If I look back at the beginning of the pandemic, we went into really a crisis mode. We sat down and we did some budgeting and some trying to figure out what we thought was going to happen, looked at our cash flow, looked at our operation, and had to make some tough decisions quickly as we talked to economists. We talked to Lawrence Yun of the Realtor Nation, basically asked him what he was predicting, Ivy Zellman. So we got a lot of feedback, and then we made the calculations on what we thought was going to happen, and then how do we have to readdress our business. So awesome. In the beginning, it was building our team, working together, trying to figure it out. Today, what it is, it's a lot of this.
Absolutely.
We're doing Zoom meetings, and you're on the phone, and you've gone virtual. So it actually is a more intense time, whereas you're able to drive, meet with the people. There's probably some more social time. Here, I feel a little bit, not exhausted, but you're on a little bit more often. So the day flies by with meetings, with scheduling, and doing what we're doing. So it's meeting with our branch managers, it's meeting with our regional managers, it's training, it's going off to, so there's a lot going on. But basically what we've done is taken the regular world into a virtual.
That is awesome. That is especially awesome because I have the pleasure of also having you on Facebook. So I see that you get to do sometimes some live conversation with Christina, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So exactly. So that is really something that I enjoy as well, just to kind of check it out. So
that
go
was
ahead, please.
Partly communication.
That is awesome.
So, when our people when we didn't get to see them in the offices and they're not coming in, we have 3,500 sales associates.
Wow.
How do you communicate? So originally we went to video, which we've done before, a 5-minute slip, and we basically videoed him and emailed it to them. But then with time going on, we ended up doing those town hall meetings. And so at 2:00 every Friday, we do a town hall meeting where we cover topics, we let them ask questions, and it's actually just a community time.
Absolutely.
To connect with our people.
That is really just nice. Again, it just touched on what I've always believed about you and what I said in the introduction. That's what you guys are doing with the Keys Company. It's really fascinating because when you look at some of other brokerages, I won't name names, obviously, but I get the pleasure of knowing some. The adaptability factor has been really hurting them. And I love the fact that you actually thought about these things and say, okay, every Friday we're just gonna check in with the team and like see where their heads at, because especially in these times where we cannot be in the office. And as I say, I'm not even a realtor at the Keys Company, but I just love checking them out. So I know when you're online, I just get on there, spend a few minutes and listen to what you guys are always talking about. So that's
well,
I think
even
it's a
more
good
than
outlook.
that. It's probably a 3-level approach. It's the executive level or our level where we're trying to connect. I used to do with my father. It's a family business. I'm an SOB, which is the son of the broker. And my daughter's a DOB, which is the broker. And but I used to do it with my father. He passed away about 9 years ago, and we did a Pappas tour. In the summer, we would visit all of our offices, and we would do a dog and pony, as they say, where we would have a 2-3 hour time in each branch. And so since we're not able to do that, we're able to go now with the Zoom meeting. So we do the executive level, but we do corporate level. And we've done a lot of training online corporately. We have a library of training, and we've been pushing that through. And so today, this pandemic would not have been good 20 years ago if we didn't have it. But because we have, and the third level is the branch level with Zoom and training and virtual. We've actually taught the branches to run their businesses, like I said, the same business they were doing before, but now it's just virtual, doing coaching, going online, meeting one-on-one, and being able to communicate, not in person, but as you and I, you're in Paris, I'm in South Florida.
Exactly.
I mean, who would have thought? You know?
Exactly. That is awesome. That is really, really awesome. And especially the thing that I wanted to follow up on, and you already talked a little bit about it, but since we are living in these quite of troubled times, so you shared a little bit about how you were able to maintain that link with your associates and your agents, but how did you do it? Like, how did you stay on top of, on the client standpoint, on the customers? How have you been able to still continue to serve those guys during this pandemic?
I think originally if you know the numbers, March 15th was really the shutdown, and we started losing business dramatically, 20% per week. And we hit bottom probably by April, the first week of April, we were off 50%. Incredible. So it was a pretty dramatic drop. And then we built back up, and we're probably at the same pace as we were a year ago. So it's been a V, but we didn't know that going in. So we did lose. And there are still today the communication. We survey every one of our listings and every one of our sales. We do an email, we do a mail out. And so we get some good response and get some good feedback. The Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and even Realtor.com survey their clients. And so we've been looking at a lot of that surveys and what the community's saying. And what we found is home is where the heart is.
Exactly.
And so where the cities, we've seen a movement from moving out. And then the first thing that we had to do is get safety. I mean, the homeowners till to this day, the inventory, there's a dearth of inventory. We're off 30% in listings. We're not taking the same amount of listings because the homeowner, the seller, is still uncertain to have people through. So you have to come up with the protocol of, with the mask and the gloves and the wipe down and how you're going to do it. Try to convince them that you're doing it safe. But still, there is a certain amount that have not accepted that, and thus the reason the inventory is still low. So it's trust with your clients, communication with your clients, and being able to utilize the tools of Zoom and virtual and be able to do it. And we've sold a number of homes virtually, but still.
What?
Yes, I mean
that's incredible. How does that even happen? Like,
well, you can walk through the home now with your phone.
That's
and
awesome.
Literally, and then with the Matterport or the 3D, you actually feel like you're doing it. And so people coming from north or northeast saying, "Hey, I know the neighborhood, I know this community, I want to buy it." And since it's such a hot market, if you don't move quickly, you're going to lose it. So those,
especially in Florida,
generally they want to see it. There's no question.
Awesome. That's awesome. Wow, that's definitely awesome. Again, you go back to this notion of just being able to communicate with not only your associate but also with your customer, which is key, especially in times like this.
And social media helps you do that. I think we
absolutely,
big push on social media. Our marketing department came up. We gave everybody a program called Agent Icon, which has a whole library of social media posts. It posts something every day. It gives them a library. So we beefed up our whole social media. We believe if you talk about it, it's where the eyeballs are. It's where the people are. It's the new way of doing business. It's the way you do it. It's Zoom, it's Facebook, it's Instagram. If you're not on that platform, you're missing the boat.
You're definitely wasting something here. For sure.
Yeah.
And especially in crisis, I always like to think crisis of even though obviously we're going through what we're going, but it always has some kind of a foundation as it pertains to opportunities. If you actually know how to look, and I was talking about this with a friend of mine last week, is some people when they think about crisis, they think about obstacles, right? And some others when they think about crisis, they think about opportunities. So the thing that that would be interesting for our viewers to hear from you is that what is the one thing that you believe COVID actually maybe sped up or accelerated or validated as an undeniable demand in our industry, something that we just overlooked, but now it's here. Like we literally need to invest on this one.
Yeah, well, I think what it confirmed that the home is where the heart is. That realistically, that we didn't realize the magnitude of home and the value of home to these individuals. And I think space now, outdoor space, indoor space, rethinking the home, doing schooling in the home, doing office work in the home. So I think it will dramatically change the home environment. I think the condominiums, we have a lot of condominiums in South Florida. In fact, in Miami, more condominium, even the social networking and community, how that works. And how that goes. But I do think what you're doing and what we're doing is what's transformed it is technology, virtual videos. We've had everything we can do. E-signatures and all of our platforms were there. So we have been laying the foundation. But literally, the associate does not have to come to work anymore to the office. Everything is on their phone. Everything is on their computer. And they can do business 100%. Without having to access. Before you had to go in to get either the computer, the MLS books, data, the plat books, but it's all there now socially and online. So I think we've transformed it. So the question now is space. Do you need the office space? We're looking at our leases, we're cutting them back, we're maybe eliminating some. And so I think we're really looking at the support team. Do you need as much support? Can you leverage the resources offline, online, and maybe outside of the area from virtual assistants and other areas. And so I do think we're becoming a more virtual business, and many businesses have already done that, and we're probably following in line along the way.
I agree. And you touched on talking about the homes earlier, and I've seen this study. I was not shocked, but really amazed about it, because they were talking about, as you said, the home is where the heart is. So you've seen an incredible surge in terms of people buying not only just office furnitures for their home, but also furnitures for their garden and things of that nature, because they just wanna. They're just thinking, okay, I'm in this thing for the next maybe 3-4 months, so I just want to be as comfortable as possible. And this is not something that in the market we were thinking about maybe 2 or 3 months ago. So
outdoor space, schools, grilling outside. I mean, outdoor is very important. Indoor is very important. And so you're definitely seeing that shift.
Absolutely. So you talked a little bit about it, but I think we're going to be able to go into it in details. So in large urban areas, especially here in Paris, but also I was talking with an agent friend of ours based in New York. They were talking. He was explaining to me how the market over there is just seeing an incredible deceleration as it pertains to home sales. So for you in Florida, you guys being pretty much one of the specialists in the market, like what are you seeing as it pertains to the market? What's happening over there in terms of transactions and business as it pertains to real estate in Florida?
Well, 2 or 3 things. I mean, you've got the backdrop of COVID. South Florida, Dade, Broward, Palm Beach is a hot spot. 160,000 people that have COVID and about 2,500 deaths. So we were coming out of it. I said I thought we were landing the plane in June. June, we talked about a V. We basically lost in the second quarter in April, May, and June. We ended up losing a month's worth of business. So you would assume that if you looked at that quarter, we were off about a third because of the fears and the shutdown, and people were not able to get out. But in June, we had a record month. We were 50% up in June in pendant business over June of last year. So that was, and now July, we're up about 30%. So in June and July, we're starting to make up for that loss that we had. So we say that the spring season usually is our strong selling season, has moved to the summer season.
Wow.
And so people are now moving into the summer. Now, we haven't seen all those close yet because it's still early with June writing, and now we're only into the second week of July. But we think the second half of July and the beginning of August, you're going to be beating those closings, and so we'll make up some. Now, that's us in South Florida.
Wow.
In the rest of the United States, except for California and New York, there's most brokers are having the best year they've ever had. And so so it is kind of interesting. And the reason is 3% interest rate. I mean, we have the 50-year low interest rate. The millennials are in their strong buying season.
Absolutely.
40-50% of the market's millennials. They're in their 30s. They're having babies. And then so there's just a lot of wind in our sales that is now making it strong. And then COVID's forcing acceleration of movement, kind of, and I don't want to say this, when we have a disaster, a hurricane, usually after the hurricane, there's an acceleration of decisions. People move. I was going to move. And so you're seeing that now. People are moving, making decisions that they were going to make 6 months or a year from now. They're making it now.
That's a great point. Definitely, that's the kind of the acceleration factor that I was thinking on. So do you think that
we're getting the luxury in South Florida, we call it sixth borough of New York, we got a lot of movement from the Northeast and from the Chicago and the Northeast, people that want to leave high income tax state. There's another factor, SALT here. There's a tax in the United States for local, that you don't get the deduction from the local state taxes. And Florida is a no income tax state. And so therefore luring people there to be able to come down to the warmth. We call it the sun, the sawgrass, and the sea. We have the Everglades, we have the ocean, and we have the sky. So it's just a beautiful place to live.
That's what I was saying. Like, it's just so completely unfair. Like, you guys just, God decided something for you guys that is just completely unfair. So
now air conditions help. In the old days, when we didn't have air conditioning, it wasn't the same way. But with modern technology, it's made it a beautiful spot.
Yeah, those are really, really great points. I want to touch on something that you said that I thought it was really fascinating about the month of June that you guys have seen and the month of July where you were you went back up 50%. What did you credit it to? Do you think is what you were talking a little bit earlier as it pertains to you just being available on social media, engage with your customers, being upfront and transparent about it? Like, what do you credit that?
All of the above. I think the market, I wish we could take, we don't create the market. We kind of we go with the wave of the market. And I do think all of the reasons we said, the pent up demand from that April, May, and June, they couldn't do business. And when they were able to come out, they started to do business. I think the low interest rates, I think the rethinking of home. And so the movement from condominiums into single family home. There's right now under $500,000 in South Florida. There's less than 1.5 months supply of inventory, meaning we're selling almost every 6 weeks the whole inventory. So it's a very tight market, getting multiple offers. But again, it's not just South Florida; it's across the country. We have a summer home up in the mountains, and there's a guy in Asheville, Neil Hanks, and he says they're having a record year. And again, people moving from the cities in Charlotte, coming to the mountains and wanting space. So it is a national trend of people that want to get into the homes and find that security where the heart is and what I'm going to be able to do.
Absolutely. That is awesome. So as you know, right now, fortunately, just in terms of timing, a few agents were getting their license and they obtained it right in the middle of the crisis, which is, I mean, you cannot create such an interesting timing, to say the least. Like, if that was you were just getting started and you became an agent in this very specific period, like what type of advice you would give to someone who just got his license in the middle of this pandemic and just like, man, what am I supposed to do from here? Like, what would be your thoughts and ideas around to overcome?
Well, my dad, may he rest in peace, used to say, nothing's changed in the 50, 60 years that he was involved. It's the same, we just do it differently. And so if you understand the fundamentals of the business, it's an eyeball to eyeball, face to face now, maybe mask to mask, but talk to people. And so if you know the math of the business, that basically in the United States, 5%, 8% of the people sell every year, so that if you talk to 50 people or so, you're going to get 2 or 3 people that are going to list or sell their homes. So it really is a numbers game. And so it's a way to contact. So what I would say is nothing's changed with that new person in this environment or not. In fact, it may be easier if you can contact and meet the people, because people have more time. They're not going out. They're more available. People are taking the phone calls. They want to connect. So it's easier to talk to people today. You and I connected a little easier. Whereas in the normal realm, if we were out running around, driving to all the offices, we may, and going to all the meetings across the country, we don't have time. So we've been given a gift of time. So first off, you need to work your sphere of influence, your database. You need to be able to build that and get your names and people that know you. And then you need to call, and we ask the Ford questions. What's your family? How's the family? How's your work? What's your recreation? What are you doing for fun? And what are your dreams? And you listen to the client, and then you decide how you can help him, he or she. And so I think in a sense, by talking to your clients, but doing all the other things, circle prospecting. If your company's got a listing, it would be good to call around that listing. And do it. Farming is another thing where you mail out and you become an expert. Sending just listed and just sold. We think print is a key thing today because people are home and getting their mail. But then social media, there's buy side. We have a program that says, what's your home worth? And you can put it on there. Doing landing pages and squeeze pages on the internet, utilizing Facebook and be able to market to drive leads. So there's a lot you can do to be able to drive business. And then you have to have a CRM to be able to navigate through that. So I think it actually may help because you can focus, build your business on a prospect communication deal that you may not have done when you were running around kind of lost a little bit more.
I agree.
Those are focus, and it's discipline, and it's consistency.
Exactly. Right. Those are really great points. And sometimes, especially now, having the fortune to talk to a lot of folks right now, the focus aspect, it's harder for some, just a little bit easier for others. So it's just how to find that.
Well, you need to block your time. You need to get up, and we say that, and we talk about attitude of gratitude. I mean, it really your mental space and how you think through things. We do a program called Ninja Selling, and they talk about contacting 10 people a day and writing 2 notes. But you have to have a belief system in your mind and an attitude of gratitude that you really are up and ready to play the game. It's like sports. If you're not engaged, and so writing affirmations, reading, but turning the news off and reading, block your time, getting up and say, I'm going to get up at 7 o'clock. I'm going to get showered. I'm going to go to my room and I'm going to prospect for 2 hours. Those are all key. If you wander around and you don't have a purpose, I think you're right, Alain. You're going to be lost.
Absolutely. I love what you just said. The caveat was turning the news off. Like that's the harder thing for some people, because that's the thing. You're gonna start your day and then just start looking at the news, and you know what happens. 3-4 hours you're still at the same place thinking about the same things, because oh my God, how am I gonna be able to get it? You just focus is so key, especially now. But I completely agree with you.
I'm reading a book called Atomic Habits, and it's basically doing the little things, discipline daily, that then creates the true foundation.
That is awesome.
And I think if you don't do mostly for the new people, I said most realtors are jellyfish. They float along here in South Florida and they sting somebody when they bump into something. And so you really need to be a plan of action so that you then have it. And if you know the numbers, if you understand the business, then it really is a prospecting system. And then you get to do what's, I think, one of the greatest gifts. You're helping people in a community with their home buying process that's life transformation.
Absolutely.
Community, school, activities, raising the next generation. Really, you're not just selling and getting paid a commission. You're transforming communities and lives. And I think it's a great calling, and you get to make a lot of money by doing it.
Absolutely. I love it because you echoed a conversation that I had with another agent working from, I think he's at Intero in San Francisco, and he said he pretty much just shared the same thing that you just shared there. And I was talking to him, I think last week, and I was mentioning that today, unfortunately, as it pertains to real estate agents, this is some kind of a lost art. Like people just being able to help clients, as you just said, feeling like they're just part of the family. Like this is such a beautiful thing to come into people's lives and, you know, be able to assist them. Maybe they're having a baby, maybe they're just moving for the first time to buy their homes. This is something, it's just a privilege. I see it as a privilege. And I think that when people think the way you think and people, that's why I was saying that to him. I think it's just a lost art. And then I just made a comparison because I'm a huge basketball fan. I was talking to him about it, saying that what you guys are doing, him and you, it's I don't know if you love basketball or not, but I'm a huge fan. So in basketball, you know, nobody anymore is doing those pull-up jumpers anymore. Everybody's just shooting from threes, right? So I was saying that basically what you were saying to me right now is exactly the same thing. Like nobody wants to be that agent. I just want to see people happy and find something that really matters to them. Right. It's just about commission and transactions. And I think that when you go about it that way, that's what I was saying to him. I think that a lot of agency and a lot of businesses will end up being closed just because they had the wrong purpose in mind as it pertains to.
No, we believe we actually, I mean, from a spiritual end, we believe we have gifts to help the community. We have we give to 40, 50. We partner with our associates on community awareness and charitable organizations, and probably to the tune of $300,000-$400,000 a year. Oh, wow. We help cancer. We're very involved in the Sylvester Cancer Center, and we have a bike ride and a fundraiser where we raise $100,000. So we believe that we're part of the community. Just what you said, we're part of a big family. We're a family business, and therefore we're helping families. And it really is. We think the fabric of America, home ownership, and it significantly makes a difference in everybody's life, in the community's life.
Completely
so it is more so than just a job.
Absolutely. Completely agree with you. The thing that I want to touch on now, this is more just directed toward you as being a CEO. And as you know, you're somebody that I look up to, the way you just have been able to build and grow the business. Adversity is a really, really hard thing, but it's something that I just love because he's a fair and hard teacher. Like if you want to do something meaningful, as you just said, build the business, the type of businesses that you've been able to build, being a family business, you have to deal with adversity. And the thing that I want to know, like you personally, Mike, as a CEO, as a leader, what are some of the lessons that you have learned like during this crisis as a leader of this organization? So what that you could share with us?
I think first, again, the mindset, you can't lose. You know, you have to persevere, and and at all costs, you're going to win. And I think sometimes it gets discouraging, and sometimes it's overwhelming, and sometimes you can respond it. So circling yourself with I'm in 2 or 3 business groups with other businessmen that we meet monthly on to try to make sure that you're not alone. So a network, and to understand and get the value from them. So utilizing kind of an advisory board or a wise board to be able to help you. But I think also having the team and utilizing your team and being able to communicate with the team. Hopefully that you've built the trust and you've built the reliance. Now I'll be honest with you, we took pay cuts originally in the first quarter, the second quarter. So that was part of the plan, and they all went along with it once we said it. Now we've made put it back to normal, but we had to let people go. And so again, utilizing your team internally and making the hard, what you need to make is the tough decisions in the short term so that you persevere and you help the organization in the long term. So there's casualties, and those you bleed for them and they hurt, but you know that you're doing what's right for the organization overall. So it really is, I think what you say, the number one track is persevering, persistent, getting back up, playing the game. And then that's the second thing. You can't be a CEO or leader if you're not fully engaged, fully active, fully participant. I think if you think the machine or the operation is going to pay you back, you're going to decline. If you're not fully engaged, retire, get out, let somebody else come in. So it's like a sports game, but you've got to play the game hard every day, because it's like basketball. Somebody's out there to beat you, and you've got to be practicing just as hard, beat the next game to stay on top. And then the last thing is, I heard a long time ago, you never can be the hot company all the time. You're going to have your waves. There's going to be a run. You're going to kind of be the hot company. But in those other period of times, you've got to keep the morale, keep the spirit up, build the relationships. And I think and enjoy the journey. There is no end to it. It is about a eventual improvement that we keep saying, how do we get better? What can we do to make it better? How can we work on these areas? And so we have a strategic planning meeting once a year. We used to do halftime. Now this year we used to do a halftime review, and I'm basically always trying to strive to do better and more excellent things in our organization. So challenging ourselves is another key.
That's awesome. It's a continue. You are pretty much just never done building a business anyway.
No, if you are, you have to be done.
Exactly. I love exactly. I love the way you just said.
It's nice, even with my daughter and the next generation. We have a next gen, we call it, where we have under 40 years old. We have 500 associates. And we're really looking at building the new management team for them. We have people that are retiring now that are my generation. So again, keeping it fresh and getting the next generation coming up. But you do need those new ideas. You need that new passion. You do need that new heart, just as I was able to do with my dad. But it is, and I think you have to, we said, do your meds. Meditation, we talked about gratitude, exercise. You need to keep your body in fit. Sleep, you need to get enough sleep. And your diet, you need to eat right. And so if you're taking care of yourself, then you can take care of others. If you're out of sync as a leader, then you're not going to be able to help and take care of others, because they're always looking for what's in it for me. They're listening to one radio station, WINFM. And so, and my dad used to say, if you expect something from everybody, but not much, so you do need to realize that everybody else has their agenda. And so that's our deal. What can I help Alain do? What can I help Mary do? What can I help Jane do to reach their full potential and to get them to be what they're trying to accomplish? And then if we dovetail that together, we're a great organization. It's not what we want. It's really what they want, and then to try to help them achieve that.
Those are really, if you look under the definition of leadership, like this is something that I'm deeply passionate about. I wrote about it, and that's exactly right. That's exactly it. And I think that fortunately in today's culture, we exchange leadership with, this kind of personification of me being on top, whereas leadership has always been about others. Has always been about empowering the other person in terms for them to grow, and not yourself. So hearing that is just,
And in the real estate business, we actually say that. It's an upside pyramid.
Absolutely.
We're on the bottom, and our associates are top, and they're telling us what to do, and so we're serving them as it's a triangle. And so we've got the customer, you got the agent, and you've got the firm, and how do you tie that triangle together to make it work?
That's so true. That's so true. So, Mike, do you think that what we're going through in these times, do you think that this will force our industry in some capacity to just reimagine or redefine how we work on an agent standpoint with our customers, with our associate? Like, what do you think will come out of it as an industry?
Yeah, I think we're transforming. We actually, again, with my daughter, with the next gen, my nephew, Jason, we said we need a Zoom meeting for what's the future of our organization. We started to do that with COVID, but a lot of the foundation is there. Technology, we've got a CRM, AI, artificial intelligence. We're a full service organization. As the fees become higher payout to the associates, there's less monies for the broker. So then you have to cross-sell the deal. So mortgage and title and insurance and property management, maybe even home repair. We've just done a deal with Move Guru for a hookup for electricity, phone, and cable. So trying to maximize the amount of the deal, but then to do that online, we have an app for our insurance company now that you put an address in, and it'll give you back in 5 minutes a quote for the insurance. So I think using technology to leverage the resources to give a wow experience for the customer is really what we're trying to create and do. But I think it's nothing, it is all in place. Executing it and getting it done is a little harder.
That's another story.
but you got a lot of personalities and a lot of people to be able to make it work together.
Yeah, but just to make sure that everybody who listens to this can be affirmed by that. You are not thinking about retiring right now, Mike.
No, I told a friend of mine. I got my daughter. She's coming up. I mean, I'm 62. I figure I can go maybe another good 10 years.
I was thinking maybe another 15 to 20.
Yeah, that's right. I figure I'll be strong, and then maybe I can be a coach mentor. And that, to be honest with you, what I believe my job is 40 years in the business is now mentoring, guiding the next leader.
And that is awesome.
If I can't do that, I failed in my job.
Yeah, that is really, really awesome. So to close this, Mike, I just want to know, do you have any, I know we can go anywhere right now, but maybe any personal or business goals? Business, I think I definitely know where you're going as you are focused on mentoring, but do you have any personal goals, any vacations coming up?
Yeah, that's good.
What's happening for you in the next couple of weeks? 5
children, and all adult children, 5 grandchildren, and I have another grandchild away, and I'm celebrating my 40th anniversary with my wife in August. So
happy anniversary.
Europe.
That's awesome.
I don't think we're going to be able to do that, but we do have everybody coming together for my mother-in-law's 85th birthday this week. And so at our lake house. So family's very important to me, just as our organization, and I think and that keeps us quite busy.
That's awesome. That's really, really awesome. So first of all, happy anniversary to you guys in advance. But that's 40 years. I'm just at 2 right now with my wife. So, but I hope to get there one day for sure.
Yeah, I said marriage is the mirror on you that you don't want to see.
That is so great. It's exactly how I feel, I think, every day, pretty much. Yeah.
It ain't about her or the other person. It's all about you.
Absolutely.
You gotta figure yourself out. And actually, you gotta find peace with yourself and understand who you are and feel comfortable with that, rather than having to find the need in the other person. I said I was younger, I needed my wife. Today I don't need her, but I want her. And so I think I've matured in my own and found peace. My dad used to say everybody has an umbilical cord that they're looking to plug in somebody else. So I think when you can self-manage yourself, then that really gives you peace. And then you find that what attracted you originally sometimes becomes the pain points, and then what hopefully becomes the partner. And you find the complement of each other rather than, and the joy in understanding the differences that you both have.
I definitely didn't have the honor of knowing your dad, but the thing that I take the most within our conversation is just the amazing quotes that he has been disseminating over the course of his life through you. Everything is so on point. It's just incredible. You can literally just write a book out of it and just go about your day following those quotes.
Yeah. He was a wise man. He understood people.
No, absolutely.
And did a good job. Gave us a great foundation that we're hoping to be good stewards about.
Absolutely.
So it's been a privilege.
Awesome. That's really,
thank
really
you.
awesome.
It's been an honor and privilege to spend time with you.
The honor is all mine, Mike, because this is something that I really wanted to do, and basically to kind of tell you a little bit about it. We have the fortune to have some top producing agents as customer, but also some new agents, and so you were kind of, when we started to get into this sheltering in place conversation, you can see the morale just being a little bit hurt. So we were thinking about how we can just find a way to continue to empower those guys and just encourage ourselves as we go about this thing. And so that's where we had this idea of recovery. So, and this is something that just your perspective. Yeah.
I think we're in it for, I said we thought we were going to race a quarter mile around the track to be done. Now it looks like it's a mile or two.
Exactly.
And so this is the new normal, and you got to figure out how to do business in this environment. Otherwise, you're not going to be here in the future.
Exactly. Right. This is key. It goes back to the adaptability you talked on a little bit earlier. So I just want to thank Mike for making the time today to chat with us. This is Recovery Quarantine Edition. It is done. You can catch this episode on YouTube and on all platforms streaming podcasts. And remember, in the recovery, just as said Mike, don't just get to the same place, get to a better place.
Amen.
Thank you,
Wow.
everybody.
Thank you. Enjoy it.
Thanks, Mike. Absolutely.
Thank,
Thanks.
we'll talk later. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thanks, Mike.
Bye-bye.